Welcome to Silent Confessions, your space for exploring the untold, raw, and intimate stories that many dare not speak aloud. Today, we're diving into a tale of boundaries crossed, secrets uncovered, and a passion that ignited more questions than answers. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and stay with us for more stories that pull back the curtain on infidelity, betrayal, and emotional complexities. My name is Maria, and this story is one I never imagined sharing. It's raw, electrifying, and tangled with emotions too complex to unweave entirely. It's not just a memory, it's a confession, a revelation of my vulnerability, of a temptation that held a mirror to my soul, forcing me to grow in ways I never anticipated. Sometimes it's the storms inside us that spark the greatest transformations. It began on one of those golden, languid afternoons when the world slows down and the warm breeze carries a feeling of suspended time. My sister Elena and her husband, eager for a romantic retreat, asked me to care for their son, Adrian, for the weekend. At just 19, Adrian exuded a rare kind of charm, effortless, sharp-witted, and brimming with an energy that seemed to command the air around him. He had a smile that felt like sunlight breaking through storm clouds, both mischievous and sincere. Watching over him seemed to promise a carefree escape from my exhausting routine. I couldn't have been more mistaken. The first day melted into moments filled with infectious laughter, greasy pizza boxes, and a marathon of shows Adrian insisted I couldn't miss. That laughter danced through the house, warming its lonely corners and filling me in ways I didn't know I needed. For a while, I felt like a younger version of myself, unburdened and light, rediscovering fragments of joy tucked away in the shadowy corners of my adulthood. But beginnings are deceiving, and on the second day, everything began to shift. Adrian mentioned he might step out to see some friends. Quiet time felt like an indulgence, and once he left, I sank into the plush cocoon of my bed. The house wrapped around me in its stillness, soothing yet electric. That solitude felt decadent, a rare treasure stolen from the rushing noise of life. Unbuttoned from the formalities of the day in my camisole and shorts, I let my guard down entirely. But then the door flung open. Adrian stood there, keys dangling from his hand, his voice soft and apologetic. "Forgot these," he murmured. His tone wasn't what struck me, it was his eyes. They lingered, soft yet piercing, tracing over me in a way that made my heart misstep. Under his gaze, my casual outfit, so mundane just moments ago, felt too intimate, too thin. My cheeks flushed as heat spiraled up inside me, unbidden and unsettling. "Adrian, you should knock," I stammered, voice barely steady as I yanked a blanket over myself. His eyes darted away quickly, but not before I caught a flicker of something raw. Curiosity? Longing? It left me breathless, lingering in the air between us, growing heavier even after he quietly shut the door behind him. I sat frozen. My heart raced against my ribs, caught in a whirlwind of shame and a disconcerting spark of something I couldn't name. That brief moment had shifted more than I cared to admit, a crack in the calm veneer of our relationship, threatening a torrent of unspoken emotions. Later, Adrian approached me with an uneasy look that mirrored the turmoil swirling in my chest. "Maria," he began hesitantly, his voice a strange mix of innocence and resolve. "One of my friends thinks they saw a video of you online." His words struck like lightning, a sensation that crawled up my spine. He rushed to clarify. "I didn't watch it, and no one knows if it's even you. I just thought you deserved to know." The surge of panic was almost overwhelming. This intrusion into my life felt claustrophobic, suffocating. But Adrian's genuine concern grounded me. His vulnerability, the way his eyes held mine, made my anxiety quiet, if only briefly. I mustered strength, placing my hand on his and reassuring him that I'd handle it. Though touched by his compassion, I hadn't realized how this vulnerability would draw us closer. In the following days, Adrian seemed more present, his gaze lingering for moments too long, his words soft with unspoken meanings. The air between us thickened with intensity. Each interaction bore a subtle intimacy unfamiliar, yet dangerously alluring. One evening, as twilight bathed the walls in soft hues of gold and gray, Adrian came to me. Luca, my boyfriend, was away again, immersed in the commitments of his work. Adrian sat opposite me, nervous yet determined. Maria, he breathed, his voice trembling. You mean so much to me. I don't just care about you as family, you're more than that. His words crashed into me, heavier than any storm. The sincerity in his eyes shredded the walls I had built to keep our dynamic simple and untroubled. I wanted to dismiss him, to retreat safely into defined boundaries, but a part of me, a deeply buried part that had tasted neglect and emotional starvation, leaned into the warmth of his confession. Through shallow breaths, I responded coolly, diplomatically, reminding him that our connection, though precious, needed firm boundaries. But the way his voice wavered, his words a fragile melody, stirred something deep. The air between us pulsed with forbidden energy. For the briefest moment, I let myself wonder, what would it feel like to lean into his intensity? Could his youthful ardor replace everything that had eroded with Luca? The thought ignited a shiver I hated and craved equally. But we said nothing more. I walked away, not trusting my voice, my heart, or myself. Adrian's confession illuminated the fractures in my life. Luca's absence had left me yearning for validation. I could no longer ignore how disconnected we had become. Days without touch, weeks devoid of meaningful conversations, it all pressed down on me with suffocating clarity. Determined to salvage what once felt unshakable, I planned a romantic weekend, yet it was met with half-hearted grins and distracted nods from Luca. Over an otherwise silent dinner, months of suppressed heartache burst free. Luca, I whispered, voice heavy with an ache I couldn't contain, do you see me at all anymore? Or am I just here, like background noise? His fork clattered to his plate, and for the first time in years, his eyes truly found mine. Panic, regret, fleeting shadows danced there before he responded. That moment marked our first step toward rebuilding, an arduous journey of unraveling wounds, rediscovering intimacy, and mending pieces broken long before Adrian ever became a part of the picture. Adrian and I settled into a quieter rhythm, respectful of the boundaries we discussed. Our late-night talks shifted focus, centering on his aspirations, his circles of friends, and a vibrancy he rightly needed to explore in his own world. Watching him grow hurt almost as much as it heartened me. Reflecting on that summer, I recognized its messiness, its moments of heartbreak, allure, and deep discomfort. Yet it became the catalyst for profound change. I found the courage to confront not just cracks in my relationship, but those buried within myself. And now, I embrace those imperfections. They tell a story of my resilience, of rediscovering my voice, my boundaries, and the joy of emotional healing. Easting through life's complexities, I found the greatest clarity, the power of honesty, the beauty of connection, and the strength to walk away from what no longer serves. If this story resonated with you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Silent Confessions. Your support keeps these stories alive, and there are so many more waiting to be told. Until next time, stay curious and stay true to yourself.